you know, her role in Suits was coming to an end. She was never going to be the star that she hoped she would have been. She wasn't a star. She wasn't a star. She never has been a star. But so her Hollywood ambitions were already. But if you add all of that into because people were buying Harry, Meghan was a tag along.
Lady Colin Campbell, given their high hopes, Megxit soon descended into a complete disaster. A disaster reputationally and a disaster commercially. When do you think Harry and Meghan realised that things were not going to be as easy as they had planned and intended?
I think when the chickens started to come home to roost. I think at first they thought, oh, we're being very clever and everybody's going to be as fascinated with our inspection of our navels as we are. And I think at first it started well, JP Morgan gave him $1 million to stand up and tell everybody how terribly hurt he was by his mother's death, blah, blah, blah. And I think the Oprah interview, they thought it was a positive. The fact that it was a negative to the royal family was of no significance to them. I think they made their deals with Netflix and Spotify, and Harry made his deal with Penguin Random House. And remember, that's supposed to be one of 4 books, not one book, one of 4 books. And I think they had all these big plans, and the press went along with a lot of it,
Well, yeah, look at this from the New York Times announcing the Netflix deal. It was all very positive, but the pressure was on, right?
Everything was overblown and high flown. And they had the American PR attitude, which is her attitude. Make a big claim and say, big everything up, and everybody's going to believe it. And for a while, it looked as if that was going to happen. And then they then had to produce. And this is where things have fallen flat, because neither of them has sufficient substance to deliver anything of any consequence. Okay, their personal Netflix show was of interest because they are still royal. They were trashing the royals. They were trashing everybody else. And of course, people like gladiatorial shows where, there's blood and guts being spilt on the floor. It's entertaining. But then comes the fallout, because that's the sort of thing you can do once and only once. There's a reason why most autobiographies or shows of this nature are done by people after a certain age, where they've lived a fairly full life, because it's a swan song. But with them, it was at the beginning of their public life in America. And I think they thought, and Meghan also with Spotify, I mean, she didn't even do most of those interviews. She only did 1 or 2 of them. The rest were done by producers, and she simply asked the questions to camera. And and the delusional sort of look how great we are and how fabulous we are, and I'm just so wonderful, and everybody's going to be as intrigued by me as I am by myself. I think it took a while for people to realize basically they're BS merchants, and and I'm afraid the S part of the BS had an odor that people didn't find appealing. And so after the ghoulish thing of, oh my God, can you believe it? The royal family was racist. Oh, actually, turns out it wasn't. So after that, things hit terra firma, and all of a sudden, people say, and no, you will know, Dan, better than most people. The one thing Hollywood does not tolerate is failure. And Harry and Meghan have turned out to be poisonous, box office poison.
Oh,
And everything they
absolutely.
deliver has no substance. And everything they deliver is actually as boring as they are. The only thing that has been of interest was the Oprah interview and the Netflix series, because that was about them. No matter how awful
Yes.
or wonderful they were, it was about them. And I think thereafter the chickens have come home to
Well,
roost.
indeed, and
And
and the book. But the thing is, all of those successful projects, Lady C, did reputational damage that meant they lost their audience. They lost the trust of the people who had supported them. So it wasn't actually worth the money. It wasn't allowing them to launch a sustainable career. But the other thing that is worth pointing out with them both is, of course, their absolute chronic laziness. These two are work shy. It's why Meghan actually hated life in the royal family, because it was pretty tough. If you're Princess Anne or Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, you work hard as a working royal. And Spotify, they tried everything, Lady C. Do you know they even spent millions building them a studio within their house? They suggested lots of people that Harry could work for. But when I think really their reputation was shot was when Bill Simmons, who was the boss at Spotify, a very successful podcaster in his own right, and had to try and make this $20 million deal work. And remember, Lady C, for 2 years, we'd only ever had a Christmas special of something from Archibald Productions. That was it, where they sort of interviewed James Corden. It was very, very weird. And he came out publicly and said, these two are effing grifters. Now, that's not normal. That's not something that happens in Hollywood, Lady C. Like, deals in Hollywood end all the time, but they end with people releasing very fake statements about how wonderful this person is, but we've decided to go in different directions. The boss at Spotify says, no, 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 no. These two are effing grifters. Then, of course, we get the Hollywood Reporter weighing in with their insight on Meghan Markle, describing her as a dictator in high heels, revealing that there had been bullying accusations by multiple staff members in California, which shot to pieces this argument that Meghan had previously made, which was that, oh, the only reason anyone called me a bully when I was in the royal family was either because of my race or because they didn't understand my American work ethic. But no, the Hollywood folk feel exactly the same way. So at that point, Lady C, all of the sort of mystique around these two was blown up, blown to smithereens, in fact.
reality has a wonderful way of landing after the high flown claims of unrealistic expectations and false narratives. And that's what's happened. I thought it was very interesting that Bill Simmons came out and said what he did, because that told me that insofar as a lot of people in Hollywood were concerned, that that they were already busted flushes. But Dan, I have friends in Hollywood who are, I suppose, what you'd call Hollywood royalty, of a certain generation, and really very well established. And one of the things that I was told some time ago was that after Meghan and Harry went to Hollywood, and after the initial excitement, people started to think, hang on a second, oh, this is the girl who's Thomas Markle's daughter. But for instance, George Clooney was lit by Thomas Markle. And there are all sorts of people in Hollywood who are the sort of people Meghan wanted to impress, who had had working relationships with her father. And that is a banana skin that nobody seems to be aware of, that helped to bring her downfall because of the way she has behaved towards her father. And her father was a revered and respected figure in Hollywood before her. And in fact, she's never been a revered or respected figure in Hollywood. I was told that even that it was actually a miracle that she got Suits, because she was so pushy. She'd be given a part with 2 lines as a favor to her father or to Trevor, and she'd then be chewing up everybody. Oh, I think I should have a bigger part or a better part and more lines, and some of the directors would say, oh, let's just get rid of her. So they'd build in the lines, they'd shoot them, and then never use them. So she had a reputation even before Harry of being really poisonous and difficult to work with, and too pushy for comfort. And she was nearly 40. Her role in Suits was coming to an end. She was never going to be the star that she hoped she would have been. She wasn't a star. She wasn't a star. She never has been a star. But so her Hollywood ambitions were already. But if you add all of that into because people were buying Harry, Meghan was a tag along, and then they realized that not only have Harry and Meghan poisoned the pot by trashing the royal family, and you do that once or twice, you can't do it constantly. It's all been done, it's all been said, and it's their narrative doesn't add up. And I think all of that has led to the realization that everybody was over optimistic about them. And the irony is, had they been prepared to listen, and had they been prepared to take direction, they might actually have succeeded despite their lack of talent and their lack of content, because they would have had other people writing the script for them, so to speak, telling them, oh, no, you mustn't say that because it's not going to play well. You need to say something else, and that will play better. And had they been amenable to suggestion, they might have been more of a success. But they, I gather, will never listen to any direction whatsoever. Both of them know better than anybody else. And when you're talentless and a know-it-all, and you won't take direction from the professionals, of course you're going to end up tanking. And they have tanked, but it's been a gradual process. It wasn't an overnight thing, but it started with Bill Simmons, the Hollywood Reporter, and there have been other things that have happened as well that have and people distancing themselves from them. For instance, George Clooney is just one that springs to mind.
Well, aren't they
But I think
toxic now in Hollywood, Lady C? I mean, really, the only celebrity who seemed to stay very loyal to them was Ellen DeGeneres, who has now quit the USA. And of course, she quit in shame as well because her bullying behavior had been exposed too. The others, Oprah Winfrey, Gayle King, Clooney, as you mentioned, have all wanted to distance themselves as much as possible. They certainly don't like being seen in public because, unfortunately, for Harry and Meghan, they are now considered box office bombs. And it's very difficult in Hollywood once you are sort of once you are branded and there is proof to connect you to the fact that you are toxic when it comes to box office, that you're actually going to cost companies money, it's really difficult. People don't want to touch you after that. But first, you know how often I talk about the need for free speech to be protected? Well, I've been increasingly thinking of the need for personal protection from snoopers, bad actors, and hackers online. And I'm delighted to tell you I've now found the fail-safe solution. But what's more, this VPN, or virtual private network, to use the full term, is also a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So let me introduce you to Surfshark, an incredible and easy to use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activities stay safe so you can shop, stream, browse, and conduct your banking online in complete privacy. But the benefits of Surfshark go way beyond keeping you safe online. It allows you to access your favorite entertainment, news shows, and channels, including to streaming services like Hulu, iPlayer, HBO Max, and Peacock. Or if your favorite show is blocked on Netflix, like Survivor for me here in the UK, or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus, within seconds you can be watching as if you're in another country. If you're traveling for work or on holiday, you can also get all your favorite content from home, including sports. And this is an insurance policy against creeping censorship in many countries like France, which has now blocked Rumble for many months. Watch anything, anytime, anywhere. It's true freedom, which I am here for. Oh, a VPN can save you money too, because you can get the best deals from websites that change their prices depending on where you're buying from. There are other benefits too. You can use Surfshark on unlimited devices. That means your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service if this is your first time using a VPN. Go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. What's more, Surfshark is so confident they're the best VPN in the world that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you'll get your money back. So that is www.surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. But now, back to the show.
Well, had she been an actress who was an acknowledged actress of some stature, for instance, at one stage, Joan Crawford was regarded as box office poison. But then she did Mildred Pierce and she was restored because she had ability and she had the opportunity and she took it. But she played ball. Meghan doesn't play ball. Meghan knows it all. And Meghan doesn't have any talent. People aren't interested in listening to her pontificating about subjects and telling everybody else, well, you know, the world is in danger and therefore you mustn't travel. However, I'm going to be going everywhere in private jets. It's ridiculous. They don't have the. I think they are finished. Of course, if she decides to join, what's it called? The fans. What's that thing where you sort of do
Only fans.
only fans? You know?
What? That's your prediction? That's where Meghan's going to end up.
Prediction. I'm saying that would be a solution.
But I mean, look, Lady C, the reality is Megxit has been a disaster. And just finally, Harry, no matter how much he might want to deny it, he knows, doesn't he? And he
Yes.
knows that his wife led him up a garden path, sold him a pack of lies about how easy it was going to be, sold him a pack of lies about her talent, sold him a pack of lies about how much he was going to love working in Hollywood. And unfortunately for him, as a result, that love has gone and the honeymoon period is most certainly over. And they are now not just struggling as a couple professionally, but they are struggling personally as well.
Well, failure is always a difficult thing to cope with. And you know what they say, once poverty comes in through the window, once poverty, I think, comes in through the door, love jumps out of the window. And they have had a string of failures that they are trying to spin as successes, but they know they're failures. And I understand that he has had an element of recognition. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. He has had an element of recognition as to the realities of the situation. She basically promised him that, we are so big after the Australian tour, we are so big. And they didn't realize they were being bigged up by the press as well. They really thought that it was them. And she convinced him that they could take what their greatness to California and make a whole load of money and become effectively the emperor and empress of the rest of the world, and leave little England and the little Commonwealth to Charles and William and Catherine, and because we're going to be bigger. We have the world at our feet. They will just have a part of the world. So, and it's not worked out like that. And of course, it's not worked out like that because they didn't have the patience. Had they actually been more patient, had they not traduced the royal family, had they not cut the ground from underneath their own prestige by going on a pity fest and a poor me gluttony exercise, they would have retained the patina of respect and glamour that the royal family possess. But they chucked all of that. And they went down the C-list celebrity route. And I mean, if you stop to think what's happened recently, I mean, normally when royals attend an occasion, they are the last in, the first out, and everything's around them. Meghan and Harry are now listed at the bottom of the list with a whole load of other celebrities, and they have to fight for space. I mean, there's actually a visible sign that their royal status doesn't, it simply accords them the respect and the rank of a D-list celebrity.
Totally.
So,
totally. And that is why Megxit has been a disaster. And as you say, it didn't actually have to be. It didn't have to be. There were ways, if they'd been a little bit less greedy financially, if they'd been a little bit more classy, there were ways it could have worked. But what a fascinating deep dive, Lady Colin Campbell. Such a privilege to have you on Outspoken today. Happy New Year again. And we will speak very soon.
God bless.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source. and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.